Hey guys, welcome to Speech Bubble. I've got Jace Diehl and the composer of the Bunsen is a Beast theme song, Mr.
Bunsen is a beast.
Guy Moon.
Roll the theme music. So you worked on, you guys did 4 shows together. I think they all have completely different sounds.
Oh, yeah,
Like From Bunsen to Fairly OddParents,
I hope so.
Phantom. No, definitely. You got the spy theme with Tough Puppy. I mean, so how did you decide on those sounds for each of those shows? Like, let's start with like Fairly OddParents.
Well, with Fairly OddParents, since it was our first show, I just went with my instinct, and I would say if there's any style of music that is Fairly OddParents, it's kind of a big band jazzy kind of thing. Because in that first episode, Big Problem, Timmy there was a lot of walking around, and he turned into this old man with 3 hairs on his head. Yeah. And it just seemed to be appropriate with a saxophone, and he's a cute guy walking around. So it ended up being that. And of course, the main title is jazz. It's like a jazz choir singing the Fairly OddParents.
We actually recorded that title sequence music. We recorded it in Utah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I talked to Ron about that.
It was in Utah, and it was in an old converted church. I videotaped the whole thing. I got to find that videotape, but it was like, I say videotape because it was an actual camera you held up. But it was like we had like the string section over here, and that's where I really learned what an orchestra was like. Because we would stand there watching musicians come in. They're like, okay, the horn players are coming in, and Ron would go, they're just normal guys. They're just normal blue collar guys. And sure enough, they'd come in kind of like wearing their, they're just basic Kmart clothes with their horn case, and they're like, now watch when the violin players come in. He goes, the violin players come in. They're like, now this is not me saying this. I'm just repeating it. The violin players come in. They're like, they'll come in a group. They never leave the group. And there's always one spokesman. And I went, okay. And sure enough, they all walked in, and they would kind of huddle and talk. And then one of the violin players, like whoever was the leader, would be like, excuse me, could we ask a question, please? And they would go, it was just really funny. Do you find that as well? Is that
that must be specific to Salt Lake City.
Yeah, Salt Lake City. That's weird. Now, you're primarily a piano player.
Yes.
Correct? Now, but you can really play anything. I've seen you play you play guitar, you play bass, you play everything.
Yeah, well, that's in high school, I would grab any instrument possible. And in the bands that we were in, sometimes I'd double on guitar. I could play guitar well enough to, say, lead a campfire, sing along. Right. So I could play chords. I could play Beatles. The Beatles is easy to play. That's
where I am right now. I could lead a couple of campfire sing-alongs. As long as the campfire people couldn't sing or hear music, I could do that. That's pretty much what I could do. So keep going.
So I just signed up for anything musical. And much like college, even in high school, I would skip my legitimate classes to practice music go in. And I would kind of commandeer the band director's office and the choir director's office. And it got to the point where at first they'd try to, Guy, you have class, you can't be here. Right. But I was so consistent, eventually they just gave up. So I would be in their office during physics class, and they'd be right next to me, and I'd be listening on the headphones.
But see, that is what I think, and you and I have talked about this many times, that is like having a gift. Like you had to just exercise.
Yeah, I couldn't help it. I couldn't help it. Yeah.
And do you recommend that? Like people, we always try to encourage people here on the Big Speech Bubble, like if someone out there has a dream or a need, it's almost like a need, you have to do it. Like me with drawing or writing, I have to do it. It's like music as well with you, right?
Absolutely. And I still have that today, except that I don't have to, I have access to all the instruments I need, so I will get a little antsy if I don't hear live music for several weeks.
Oh, really?
So I've got to go. I got to go see somebody play live music because all the work that I do for you and for any shows that I do
just
is all recorded.
Don't mention other shows. We talked about that.
Yes, for the 4 Butch shows that I've scored in my career,
and that's all I ever do.
All I've ever done. It's all recorded. I can take my time creating it. I can always go back and redo it, but live music that's how we all started in live music. With actual time because we're constrained by the time.
And the other thing too, I was gonna get to that too. The other thing what I always admired about you and still do, and is like you're not only just creating music out of nothing, you're creating it under a time limit. You have to do it like you have like a week. It's like, all right, guy, in 1 week, you have to come back with 7 minutes of music that's exactly like I described, and it has to be amazing. Yeah. You're like, no problem.
Well, that took a while to really nail that down.
Wow. I wasn't going to say that. But no, you.
Oh, did you notice?
No, I never noticed. No, but dude, it was never a question of. It was never a question of can Guy do the music. It was a question of can Guy get this particular style of music for this show? We did an episode once of Fairly Odd Parents called Action Packed, where Timmy wishes for he wishes he was in an action movie. And I remember you sent to me it was back in videotape back in the day. You sent me videotape. You were like, Mr. Hartman, and it was your voiceover. Mr. Hartman, the following are 4 different musical styles for Action Packed. And I would watch, and you had like a real James Bond style, and you had like a Die Hard style, and you had like a Alien style. It was amazing. Like there were 4 distinct styles that you did. And I got to choose. It was pretty cool. And I think I chose the most, I forget which one I chose. But anyway, it worked really well.
Yeah, and that kind of goes back to your question about how do you figure out the style of the show. Yeah. Since I knew that this was going to be a kind of a one-off show that didn't really need any jazz or music that is Fairly Odd Parents sounding, I wanted to just get the feedback before I scored the whole thing. So I probably sent you 20 or 30-second clips.
Yeah, you did.
Of that.
And there were like 4 of them, yeah.
And it's really helped because if you love one, then I know, okay, here's the style for the rest of the show.
And you also did the amazing song, I Wish Every Day Could Be Christmas. I wish every day could be Christmas.
Well, we got nominated for that, didn't we?
I know. We got nominated for that song. We also got, we're talking, Jace, we're talking Emmy nominations over here, okay?
Whoa, hey.
And by the way, Moon has actually won. Did you win an Emmy?
No, Annie.
You won an Annie.
Won an Annie.
Now that makes one more Annie than I've ever won. I've been nominated for like 15 Annies and 16 Emmys or something. And
Scoundrels.
I know. I haven't won.
What was the Annie you were nominated for? What show?
It was actually I was thrilled because it was a piece of score, and I don't think I ever got nominated for something that wasn't a song. So we'd all get nominated. The scriptwriters and myself would get nominated.
For songs,
yeah, and I think the Valentine's episode
we got 2 songs in the Valentine's episode. It's Great to Be a Guy.
Oh yeah,
What Girls Love. Then we got Wish Every Day Could Be Christmas, and there was one more song we got nominated for. There were 4 songs.
Yeah, it was 4 nominations.
Might have been one of the ones from the school musical. I'll have to look that up. But anyway, but then what was the score you got nominated for? Was it for one of my shows?
Yeah, it was.
Was it Tough
the trilogy?
Wishology.
Season 7. Yeah, Wishology. I think it was the final Wishology where Timmy's got his guitar and it's got lightning coming out and he's like controlling the tornado.
Yeah, that's definitely the last one.
And he rips into this Van Halen solo.
Yeah.
And I submitted it because the music was so tied with the story at that point.
Yeah.
A lot of times the music can be treated as background, and it is background. Sometimes it's just filler.
Yeah.
But in this case, the music had to track with the story and track with the intensity of Timmy's success, and finally, obviously, go to the climax where he saved the day.
Exactly.
By exploding. I forget what.
Exactly. Yeah. I think exploding something, and he won. And but that was the episode we got to use Gene Simmons. We got to use all the Kiss stuff.
Were you involved with that too? Then with
not the pre-records. No,
okay.
That was all on the picture when I got.
Oh, okay.
Well, yeah, but Gene Simmons said we can use a song. I wanna rock.
Oh yeah, we actually used the original recording of that.
Very cool.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And then when we did do the Tough Puppy theme song, I actually got to play that little lick on the.
That's right. That's right.
I think he probably re-recorded it, but but Adam Schlesinger pretends that it was me on that. But anyway, I tell people because I did record it, so hopefully they use it.